When you walk into an emergency room, you expect to be saved. But the doctors who've spent decades behind those doors carry stories medicine can't explain. Not every patient survives, and not every patient truly dies. These are true accounts, told by seasoned ER doctors, of final shifts, unexplainable patients, and moments that left them wondering, did I save a life or witness something that doesn't belong to this world? People think retirement is freedom. For me, it just feels like an ending I wasn't ready for. My name is Marcus Ellery. I'm 62 years old, and I've spent the last 36 of them working in emergency medicine. My first patient died in front of me when I was 26. I've held more hands during last breaths than I care to count. And after tonight, I'm done. It was supposed to be just another graveyard shift. Nothing special. My last one before hanging up the white coat for good. The forecast had called for heavy snow, but no one expected the full-blown blizzard that rolled in that night. By 10 o'clock p.m., the entire town was buried. Roads closed, cell towers down. We were running on backup power, and the emergency phone line was flickering like it was trying to decide whether to die or not. There were 5 of us in the whole building. 2 night nurses, an intern named Harris, a janitor, and myself, and 6 patients, all stable, all asleep. The hospital was as silent as I'd ever heard it. It should have been the perfect ending. A quiet night, no drama, no new trauma cases. But I should have known better. The quiet ones always come with a cost. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the alert system chimed. Not the kind of alert that sends people running, but a soft automatic ping from the internal server. It signaled that a new patient record had been created and assigned to ICU Room 2. I blinked. That wasn't possible. No one had come through the doors. The snow outside was waist-deep. No ambulances, no staff movements, no activity. We were sealed off. I stared at the monitor a little longer, half thinking it was a system glitch. Then I saw the name. Kale, Jonah Kale, 39 years old, status, active, condition, hypothermia. My heart dropped. That name, it wasn't just familiar, it was unforgettable. I stood up slowly and called to Harris, who was on the other side of the nurse's station. You logged someone into ICU-2? No, sir. No one's come in. I didn't say anything, just grabbed my stethoscope and walked toward the ICU wing, my shoes echoing across the tile. The hallway felt colder than usual. ICU-2 was lit only by the glow of the monitors. And there he was, lying on the bed, eyes closed, shirt open. Frost still clinging to the tips of his hair. His lips were pale, but he was breathing. I stepped closer and felt it. A pulse, faint but steady. Core temp read 89.4 degF. Definitely hypothermic, but not fatal. The monitor confirmed everything. Blood pressure low but stable, heart rate in the 50s. IV line in place. But here's the thing. No one had placed that IV. And then I looked closer. The scar above his left brow. the small blackbird tattoo just under the collarbone. I had seen that exact face before, held that exact hand as the line went flat. Jonah Kale died in this hospital 9 years ago, in this very room, under my care. I was the one who signed his death certificate. I stood there in silence, staring down at the man I'd once watched die. Back in December 2013, Jonah Kale had been admitted after a skiing accident up in the hills. Severe head trauma, internal bleeding, vitals crashing by the minute. We tried everything, but it was no use. He was gone before we even got him stable. I remembered his sister, Leah. She was with him on that trip. Her body was never found. They assumed she fell through the ice on a frozen stream nearby. Search teams combed the area for days. Nothing. I also remembered the room, ICU-2, the same goddamn room. And now he was back, alive somehow, and hooked up to machines none of us had touched. I called in Harris. The poor kid looked like he'd seen a ghost the second he walked in. Who admitted him? He asked, voice dry. I shook my head. No one. He wasn't here half an hour ago. We checked the security footage. Every camera outside, every hallway, nothing. There was no recording of anyone entering ICU-2, let alone Jonah being wheeled in. The backup server had logged him in at 3:17 a.m., using an access code linked to Dr. Leonard Mays. Mays died in 2019. That's when things started getting strange. Jonah began mumbling in his sleep, garbled words, then clearer. Stop it this time. Don't let it happen again. She's still under there. His eyes fluttered but never opened. His pulse spiked briefly and then dropped again. I leaned closer. Jonah, can you hear me? He whispered, It's leaking again. I didn't know what he meant. But as I adjusted the blanket, the heart monitor suddenly flatlined for a full 2 seconds, then bounced back. The overhead light flickered. Did you see that? Harris asked. Yeah, I said. Go check the breaker box. And call maintenance. I want the boiler room checked for any gas leaks. While Harris ran off, I stayed with Jonah. His body temperature was still low, not enough to classify as hypothermia anymore, but weirdly stable at 94 degrees. And it wasn't rising. Even the warming blanket wasn't helping. Then the room got cold. Not just AC too high cold, deep cold, like a freezer door had been left open. My breath fogged. The monitors started to lag. And the scent. It was faint, but I recognized it. Melted snow and pine sap, the smell I remembered from Jonah's clothes that night 9 years ago. Jonah stirred again, eyes still shut, lips barely moving. The pipe. It's cracked again. Basement. Like last time. Last time? Suddenly Harris's voice came through my radio. Dr. Ellery, you're not going to believe this. There's a fracture in the main gas pipe behind the boiler. Pressure's building if we hadn't caught it. I turned back to Jonah. He was still, shallow breaths fogging the oxygen mask. I didn't know how or why or what the hell was happening, but he had saved us. Again. After the gas leak was confirmed, the maintenance team shut off the main line just in time. If Jonah hadn't spoken, if Harris hadn't gone when he did, the entire east wing could have gone up in flames by sunrise. By 4:20 a.m., the immediate danger had passed. But the tension in my chest hadn't. I needed to check on Jonah. I returned to ICU-2. The bed was empty. I stared at the space where he'd been. The blanket lay folded. The monitors were off. I pulled open the door. "Jonah?" My voice sounded brittle. No one answered. I checked the hall. Nothing. No nurses. No Harris. I called the nurse station. "Did anyone move the patient from ICU-2? Silence. Then a hesitant reply. "Dr. Ellery, there's no patient assigned to ICU-2. Hasn't been since 2013. My blood ran cold. I checked the server. The entry from 3:17 a.m. gone. The name Jonah Kale had vanished from the system entirely. Even the old record from 2013 was missing. All that was left was a small, blinking prompt on the heart monitor, a message that hadn't been there before. "Tell Leah I tried." At 6:45 a.m., the sun broke through the storm clouds, turning the snow outside a soft golden blue. My shift was ending. My last one. I changed out of my coat in the locker room, sat on the bench for a long while, and stared at my reflection. I looked older than I remembered. Before leaving, I walked one last time down the hallway past ICU-2. I paused at the glass window, and for the briefest second, I saw him. Jonah. Standing in the room, facing me. Eyes open. Calm. Snowflakes clinging to his shoulders. He raised one hand in a slow wave. And then he was gone. That was 8 months ago. I haven't told anyone, not officially. What could I say? That a man who died under my care 9 years ago returned to save the hospital? That he left no trace except for a warning and a message to his dead sister? They'd call it stress. Sleep deprivation. A mind letting go after decades of grief. But I know what I saw. I know what I heard. And I know this. Sometimes the dead don't stay buried. Sometimes they come back, not to haunt us, but to finish what was left undone.